G'day guys, welcome back to another episode of Flashlight Crazy. Got a real interesting one today. We got two Acebeams, both spotlight and floodlight. One of them is the Terminator M1. The other one is the W35. Let's check them out. Alrighty, here they both are. Now, I understand that this may be a strange comparison, but hear me out. So both of these lights offer throw and flood. Both of them on the throw, at least on the spotlight, have an LEP. So that's the LEP in down both the lenses there. Now I understand that the Terminator offers an LED for the flood, but I do believe this is a fair comparison because they are both marketed as spotlight and floodlight flashlights. Very, very different in their ergonomics, very different in their build, obviously. When I reviewed the W35 and I was just so impressed with it, I thought, well, maybe I should get the Terminator M1 back in front of the spotlight and just see how it does against this, because they are both spotlight and floodlight torches. So, with that being said, let's just compare batteries. So the M1 over here is going to give you a 5,100 milliamp hour 21700 IMR lithium battery. The W35 is going to give you a 5,000 milliamp hour 21700 3.6 volts, now 15 amp battery. So I don't know a crazy amount about batteries, but is that different? Does anyone want to chime in for me and help me understand if that's different, if the 15 amp here means a whole lot more? I don't know. I mean, this says high capacity. I don't know if you can see that. It says high capacity there, so I don't know if that's the same thing. Is that amps maybe? Or maybe not. It's probably just part of it. So yeah, look, I don't know fully about this this amp situation, so please chime in for me. Okay, so now I'm just going to insert both batteries. So first off, the Terminator's battery gets inserted from this bit here. It is a very, very nice and very satisfying thread to use. It's very well oiled out of the box, and the threads are they're just great. They just fit really, really nicely. So that is just awesome. And then, you know, there's a very large O-ring at the end of it to secure the water resistance. And you just tighten that up by hand and you're good to go. Okay. Now, W35 is also no exception to beautiful threads. Now, pop the battery in. So, just make sure that's on. Oh, yeah, back here. Yep. Okay, so going off the design, this is obviously where you're going to get your major differences. The design. Starting with the Terminator, the design is a very compact, I mean, you know, it fits in the palm of your hand like that. So it is a compact light. Now, you can hold this in various ways, but from my use and experience, the best way to hold this is how I'm holding it now, because you've got your pointer finger and thumb, which can control the zoom with one hand, which is nice. It's nice to be able to control the zoom with one hand. You can obviously just hold it and turn it with the other hand, but it can be zoomed with one hand, which is good. But also you've got full control here. So you've got the on button, you've got switch from LEP to LED, and you've got the cycle button as well, which is the same as the on button, and then you've got off. So holding it like this seems to be the best way. I don't think you could hold it. I mean, you can hold it like that, but it's just weird. You'll probably accidentally shift things. Same with that. It is just a bit weird. I think it is designed to be held like this. Poor old left-handers, that they can still turn it actually with the pointer and thumb, but they just have to shift their grip a little bit to access it with their thumb, as in the on button and the switch button. But still possible, not hard. I just think it is more comfortable in the right hand, although it actually doesn't make too much of a difference, to be honest. You just kind of got a better grip in the right hand when you're turning, whereas in the left hand, you kind of yeah, just not as good of a grip, but still fine, still fine. It's actually quite ergonomic for both hands, actually. I'll take that back. It's actually quite ergonomic for both hands. So obviously this tail stands, you know, it's a very interesting construction, and it's got, you know, dual barrels. So it's a double barrel, and it is a LED and LEP. Now, the cool thing as well is that you can get 2 separate light sources. So in terms of emitters, so this one is the neutral white 5000K, but you can also get a cool white. I'm not really battling these two, comparing them with their looks and things like that, because they are so different that they kind of wouldn't be fair. But in terms of ergonomics with the M2, it's nice. It is nice. However, just putting the M2 to the side for a second, in my opinion, it doesn't stand up to the W35 in terms of ergonomics and feel. This thing is a proper feeling light in your hand. It's just proper. Now, one thing that the W35 lets itself down in is that in this stance, or holding it like this, you can't turn the light on. You need to, so if you want single hand, you need to crawl all the way back here, click it on, then crawl all the way back here, and you've got your ability to use the light now. Then if you want to turn it off, you've got to crawl all the way back, click, and that's it. Now, that's only if you've only got one hand to use. If you've got another hand to use, you can just go bang, we're good, bang, we're good. But the M1 is, you know, single hand, no dramas. So that's where the M1 kind of gets you. Or it gets this guy. You know, this thing is a beautiful light, and when I reviewed it, I was shocked at how amazing it was. Look, it is very easy once you've got the light on. It is very easy to manipulate with one hand. It's very comfortable in the hand. Look at that; it just fits beautifully. The ergos on this are just phenomenal, and you've got your brightness here. And you've got your swap from LEP to LED. Only difference is, look at that, you can actually cycle into so many different sizes of hotspot. And sorry, I said LEP, LED, I meant flood and spot. So double click all the way down to spot, double click all the way down to all the way up to flood. And this has a really nice flood on it as well. Not as nice as that, but really nice. And then single click to turn it off. You've got your charging port back here, USB-C, very nice and deep, really great rubber flap that just sits in there like that. You've also got tail standing as well, same as that, although it's much more secure, the M1. And I forgot to say, the M1, you have to remove the battery to charge. It's got a USB-C port inside the actual battery. Now, I don't know if measurements are a fair thing to do as well, but I'll just give them to you. So the W35 comes in at around about 187 millimeters, and the Terminator comes in at, well, look at that, 101 millimeters. So Acebeam says the W35 is 327 grams with the battery, and with the battery, the Terminator is 304 grams. So about 22 grams difference-ish, 23 grams difference. Okay, so technical parameters. Let's get this light on all the way to spot. Okay, so with your spotlight with the W35, and if I just get it all the way up to the brightest, which is that's 800 lumens, which you're going to get for 6 minutes. And during that 6 minutes, you've got 2,600 meters of throw. But then after 6 minutes, it drops down to 470 lumens for an hour and 40 minutes, but it will drop in its throw as well. But 2,600 meters of throw, that's pushed out by 1,690,000 candela, okay? So that's the max lumens and throw that the W35 can give you. With the Terminator, the max lumens and throw is that, and you've got 700 lumens, so 100 lumens less, for 110 seconds as opposed to 6 minutes. So 110 seconds is just under 2 minutes, right? Then after 110 seconds, you've got 300 lumens for 1 hour and 50 minutes. However, during this 110 seconds, you do have 1,600 meters of throw, so that is a whole kilometer less. You've got 2,600 meters of throw here and 1,600 meters of throw. But that's because it's pushed out by 640,000 candela as opposed to, as I said, 1,690,000 candela over here. Now, this is confusing. The reason is is because when you see these two perform in the night shots, I did them last night, I was pleasantly surprised at the performance of the M1 versus the W35. The W35 is spec'd at 1 million more candela than the Terminator. And yet I did not see a great deal of difference in the throw, people. So this is kind of another reason why I wanted to compare these two, because they're both same company. They're both spotlight and floodlight flashlights. And I would have expected... Now, the W35 definitely does outperform it in throw, but not by much, man. That's the thing. And you'll actually see it in real time. When I'm doing the night shots, I'm expecting the Terminator to fall very short in terms of its ability to throw a spot out, and it doesn't fall as short as I thought. So that's a confusing thing for me. Now, if we just go max flood, okay? Now, the max flood there on the Terminator is 2,300 lumens, which you're going to get for 110 seconds. Then it's going to drop down to 700 lumens for 2 hours and 40 minutes. And that is really, really an impressive flood. It really is. As you'll see in the night shots, it's impressive. And this neutral white is just gorgeous. Now, the max flood, if we just get it. Okay, so that's max flood. That's max brightness. So the max flood is 570 lumens, but you're going to get that for 6 minutes. Then it drops down to 350 lumens for 1 hour and 30 minutes. So you do have a better overall runtime with the Terminator, but this is still got a very usable flood. And as I've said, the W35 is probably one of the most useful LEPs because it does have a very usable floodlight. With the LEP on the Terminator, you do have a zoomable option where you can zoom it all the way out or all the way in. And if you zoom it all the way in, that doesn't look very big now, but at a distance, it actually really grows. There it is. Look at that. So it starts to grow. Further back I go, that's going to grow. And it's just kind of like a projector, which offers a great amount of light and usable visibility light. But this trumps it. The W35 absolutely trumps it. Now, the Terminator has moonlight mode, low mode, medium 1, medium 2, and high, as well as turbo and as well as strobe. The W35 has low, medium, high, turbo, as well as strobe. The W35 is spec'd to 1.5 meter drop resistant and 2 meters water submersible because it is IP68 grade. The Terminator has an impact resistance of only 1 meter, so half a meter less, but also 2 meters water submersible because it is IP68 grade as well. Now, another thing to note is that on your flood, on your LED, at the highest output of 2,300 lumens, the Terminator starts to get very warm very quickly, hence why after 110 seconds or just under 2 minutes, it will drop down from 2,300 lumens to 700 lumens. That's less than a third of what it is right now because it just gets too hot. I mean, right here where my thumb and finger are holding, it's heating up. Boy, oh boy, is it heating up. But holding it back here, no dramskis. So I can hold it back here absolutely fine, but up the top, it is, woo, yeah, it's warming. So just turn that off. But like I said, if you hold it back here, when you, after the 110 seconds, it will lower the temperature very quickly because the output drops significantly, like I said, by more than a third. All right, let's go outside and see the night shots. And you know, I want you guys to be the judge, obviously, but from what I saw, 1 million more candela over here didn't seem to outperform the M1 by as much as I thought it would. So let's check it out. All right, so we'll kick off with the Terminator M1, and that's the highest output on flood. So just take note of how this looks on flood. It is pretty damn useful. And now, I want to all the way zoom it out because I want to test the best spot throw LEP. I reckon it'll be the W35, but you know, you never know till you know, you know? So that's looking pretty good. You can still see everything up there, no problem. Is it on the brightest? Oh, that's strobe. Yeah, that's the brightest. So, I mean, it's still a decent bloody LEP, you know? It's not like the Terminator's crap at all, but I do think the W35 is going to win. But let's have a look. So, flood, spot. Okay. All right, so that's the flood, highest output, most flood in the W35. And I think the Terminator wins. This is still useful, but I think the Terminator wins in terms of the brightest flood. I do. But that is the brightest spot. And wow, it doesn't look much different to the Terminator, actually. Holy moly. Is the Terminator just as useful? I mean, look, the W35 is it's more comfortable to hold. But wow, maybe the Terminator is just as useful. Maybe I've had this all wrong. I mean, that distance is pretty good. The tree behind all those buildings. And then that flood is very useful, but I think the Terminator definitely wins on flood. That's my opinion or observation. But then throw is a hard one. I don't know. Lowest output, highest output. Okay, just take note of this because I'm going to go back to the Terminator. Just take note of this. Pretty good. All right, I'm going to go back to the Terminator. All right, here we are. And that's all the way zoomed, yeah. God, I think the Terminator wins. Huh. I think the Terminator might win because the Terminator's got a larger hotspot to see more, and it still seems just as bright and seems like if it's not getting just as far, it's getting pretty damn close. I mean, that back fence is just, I've moved a bit forward today, so it's just under 100 meters, probably call it 80 to be safe, but it's getting everything so clearly. And then up there as well, all the way to the top. Man, I think the Terminator might win. That is not what I expected. And that's all the way zoomed out as well, obviously very useful. But to be honest, I'd probably just leave it like that because then you can just swap. And that flood is brighter and more useful in my opinion with the Terminator. Man, I think the Terminator wins. I was not expecting that. I was not expecting that. Not at all. I'm actually really impressed with the Terminator. Well, I mean, I've always been impressed with it, but compared to the W35, this thing is holding its own and maybe even winning. I'll let you decide. See ya. All right, so before we cover night shots, let's just talk prices. So the M1 is currently at liteshop.com.au right now for $415, I believe. And you can get the cool white or the neutral white version. The W35 is $525. So, you know, it's $115-ish more, $110 more, but I believe it's worth every penny. Now, I will link both of them in the description and I will link discount codes to get you 10% off. All right, let's talk night shots because a million more candela over here. And I don't know, are you guys seeing a million candela worth of extra performance over the M1? Because I didn't see that. I saw, it's definitely, I get it, it's definitely goes further, but I was friggin' shocked, man, with this guy. This guy is a beast. And no, it doesn't have as long runtime as this, okay? Fair, that's fair. It definitely doesn't have as much of a throw, but the throw that this offers was pretty damn close to this. So I'm not I'm not seeing the million candela worth of extra performance in the W35. Now, I'm not saying the W35 isn't performing the way it should be performing, but this guy is friggin' outdoing itself. That's what I'm saying. If you're in the market for a spotlight and a floodlight, look, Acebeam makes some of the best lights on the planet. They are just robust. They feel strong. You know, you could close your eyes and put like a budget light in your hand. I'm not going to mention any names and bag out companies, but you could put a budget light in your hand. We all know budget lights. And then you could put an Acebeam in your other hand and you'd be like, if I'm going to get one of these for free, I want this one, the one where the Acebeam is, because they're just quality. Now, I think whoever buys either one of these, you'll be happy with either of them. I genuinely do. What I reckon it's going to come down to more than anything, my opinion here, is the ergos. You know, do you want a light like that? Now, plus about this light, you can pocket this, man, really easily. You can just slip that in your pocket and you're going. Or do you want more of a kind of classical, typical torch flashlight style of light? That's what it's really going to come down to, because both of them do what the other one does. I guess runtime should probably come into it as well. You know, 110 seconds on turbo for flood and spot, or 6 minutes on turbo for flood and spot. Yeah, that's a difference. Terminator kills it in flood though, in my opinion. Kills it in flood. You know, you still get to see everything you want with this, and you get to see it for a lot longer. But man, you know, this thing pumps out 2,300 lumens, neutral white or cool white. It's just like, oh, it's so much light. It's awesome. All right, so look, I personally think if I had to choose one, this is really difficult, and the answer is going to surprise me. But if I had to choose one, I'm going to choose the M1. I am. I think that I was shocked at its performance, and I like the LED in the flood as opposed to the LEP kind of wide zoom. However, this is one of the most, if not the most useful LEPs on the planet. So this is by no means to be underrated or understated about how great it is. But the things that draw me to this are the single hand use, on and off single hand use, the single hand zoom as well, but also the LED in the flood, and also the fact that it can be pocketed. The fact that I can pocket this in, and you know, man, I can pocket this in jeans, gym shorts, trackies, whatever. Even a loose top pocket, mate, it'd go. It'd be heavy, but it would go. So I would choose the M1. That's my choice. Take it or leave it. Really interested to hear what you guys would choose, and I'm really interested to hear what you think of the night shots as well in terms of the throw. I genuinely did not think the M1 would stand up to the W35, and in my opinion and what my eyes tell me, it stood up to it. All right, so liteshop.com.au, and I'll also link them at Acebeam. If you're not in Australia and you want to buy them, go to Acebeam, and discounts at Liteshop. And that's all for me today, folks. So thanks very much for watching, and until next time, stay cool and stay safe. See ya.